We're getting it.
Oh my goodness, you guys are so special. This is Wednesday, May 24th, which is really kind of your guys' last day, because even when we come back tomorrow, we're not really going to be able to have too much of class, but we'll see what we can do. Plus, it'll be random chaos after the field day. And we might have rain coming, so who knows what kind of chaos we're going to get from there. Oh, yeah, rain. The Stars did win the Charger Challenge. They won the third time in a row. Go them. It was sad, but they're all excited, and they need it because they're the Stars. And, you know, they don't really yell at their kids. They just beat them with clouds and rainbows anyway. And then the yearbook dance, I will be there after school. If you are, I am more than happy to sign your yearbook. The drawback is you don't get it till the end of the day today. And so for me to sign your yearbook, I won't be able to do it during class because tomorrow I'm doing this thing called actually teaching during class. And so if you want me to sign your yearbook, you have a couple options. One of them is going to the yearbook dance today, and I will be there and happily sign it. The drawback is there is a line. It's just the way it works out because apparently people like me. I smile a lot. And so you'll have to get into the line for it. And the other bad thing is 8th graders get to cut you. And so if you're in line, 8th graders get to cut in front of you. The next year when you're 8th graders, you get to cut in front of the 7th graders. It becomes all kinds of great circles. If you're not going to the dance, the other option is you can leave your yearbook with me. And I will sign them tonight, and I can give them back to you tomorrow. Because I don't usually just write my name. I write a message. Because, once again, my personality. If you just want me to sign my name, that's fine. If you just like, I just want your signature, and then because you're just planning on putting it on eBay or something like that, it's like an easy $20, that's fine. But I can just give you my signature and move on. But if you want an actual message, that takes time. So you can leave it with me. Or you can also leave your yearbook with me tomorrow. And so if you want to give it to me tomorrow and leave it with me. But Mr. Brovicast, that's the last day of school. Good job, special children. So what you then have to do is find a way to come back and get your yearbook. Either Friday, because teacher work day, I'm here all day, and you can just show up and I can leave it in the office, or it'll be here next week if the school's open next week for officey things, or because I'll be here throughout the summertime for my summer run club, or you can wait until 8th grade, whatever. But it's up to you. I'm more than happy to do it that way. Or just not have me sign it, and that is also an option. That'll make one of us cry. Your penultimate day, my last little bit of learning, not really, this whole day is going to be learning, but real learning. Ultimate means last, so penultimate means?
Second to last.
Nice one, second to last. And so penultimate, pen just means second to or next to, so penultimate means next to last day. So a fancy word I learned way back during my student teaching because one of the people I was student teaching with, he used that word. He was like, this is your penultimate day. And I'm like, I don't know the words you're using. And then he explained it to me, and I'm like, I'm going to use that word forever. And years later, it's almost been forever. All right. I have a number of things I'm going to try and get through with you guys today. The drawback to today, as opposed to the last 3 days, is the last 3 days were highly organized stories involving my life. And so those were fairly easy to get through. Today, not a highly organized story about my life. Today, I have roughly 40 things I want to get through with you, and I have time for about 15 of them. So my brain is going to be jumping all over the place trying to figure out which of these 15 I can get through with you. I was here until almost 11 o'clock last night trying to figure out how exactly I wanted to go through and do it, because I'll explain more about it in a moment, but we'll see if I was successful. Before I talk about me, I want to talk about you guys, which is from Mr. Wagley. I didn't get a chance to read this to you guys yesterday, and so I'm going to read it to you guys real quick. He wrote a letter the very last week when I took back over, and he was still here in the building, and he wrote me a letter, which is real nice of him. But part of it involves you guys, and it connects to that story I told you when I was at wrestling, when I was sitting in that back hallway. Oddly enough, in its own way, I made a connection between the two. And I want to read you part of his letter that I think connects to you guys. I'm not reading the whole thing, because the whole first part of it was just him talking about how awesome I am. And we all know I am, so I don't need to cover that part. I'm going to just get to the part where it talks about you guys, because that's the surprising bit. Let's see. To truly thank you, I should explain the direct impact you and the kids have had on me as a teacher. To put things in perspective of how much I've grown and changed this semester, to which you and them I owe all the credit, I think it would help to first consider where I was before this semester began. Thank you, McCann. The reason I came into education in the first place was for the conversations. My junior year of high school, we started having these deep conversations about life and literature in my English classes that really struck my interest. I'm sure they were happening before then, but I was a bit of an introverted squirrel in middle school. Anyways, that's when I decided I wanted to teach. So I could create these conversations on my own and with students of my own. For the past 4 years, I only saw myself ever teaching high school and maybe eventually college, because I thought what I was truly interested in was a conversation that could only be had with older kids. I also believed I couldn't express my sense of humor or truly be myself with younger students. Of course, I was wrong. This is where you and all the kids come in. As soon as I watched you teach and interact with them, everything about what I wanted to be as a teacher changed. Watching you teach was basically me looking at my list of priorities and laughing at how cosmically far off I was. Immediately after watching you teach, I realized multiple things about teaching, as well as myself. First of all, you most certainly can have intellectual conversations with younger students. They proved it, and proved it well. It may just take more skill and practice from the teacher. Second, that conversation isn't the only thing I want as a teacher anymore. In fact, it's moved pretty far down on my list of priorities. The thing that kicked this priority from way up top to way down low, in addition to kicking me in the face as soon as I started taking over, was connecting to kids. Connecting to these kids. Not only did I realize how much the kids and I both needed it to really have a good teachy-learning relationship, I realized it's what we both want. Kids want to be in a classroom where their teacher is fun and cares about them. And teachers want to be fun. And if they have anything more than a hard black lump of a heart, they can't help but care about all of these kids. And especially the kids I was with. That's what I saw from you and what I saw from them. And it's what I learned from all of you. And by far the most valuable thing I will take with me from this experience. I could have spent the rest of my life at Ball State and never learned what I learned from you, from the opportunities you gave me, and from watching you teach. No matter what age I end up going on to teach, what you have taught me will hold true. Students are human, whether it's 7th grade or 11th. The best thing I can do for them, no matter what, is give them a positive experience in school and be a positive person in their life. It reminded me of that guy that talked to me in the hallway, because you guys changed someone's life. Whether you realized you changed someone's life, you did. Because Wagley had no intention of teaching junior high, and that was a conversation I had with him at the very beginning. He got placed in junior high because when you're going through college, you don't get to choose. You just sort of get put in a spot, and he was not here happily. He wanted to teach high school, and he wanted to go on and teach college, and this was not the place he wanted to be. And you guys changed that for him. After spending the time with you guys, he realized that being with this age group and being with you guys is where he ultimately ends up wanting to be. So you guys have redirected the path that a human has been on because of your personalities, because of how you acted with all that. It made that much of an impression. And you didn't think you were doing anything special. You thought you were just being you. But sometimes it's those little things you do that have an impact. I really hope he ends up in a junior high. Because I know you gave him a hard time because he wasn't me. And because he wasn't me, it made you grumpy at times. But as a teacher, he was good. Compare him to any other number of teachers you have who connected and tried and put personality into things, and he'd be a wonderful teacher in a junior high. And that happens because of you. And if he ends up in a junior high and makes some other class happy, that happens because of you. And that's a big thing. All right. Now back to me. Enough about you guys. I wrote up a whole outline of what I'm going to try and get through today. And I have faith in the fact that I'm not going to be able to follow this for very long at all. We're going to see what happens. And it's going to be a journey we're going to go on together. So buckle up and let's see what happens. All right. My whole year is aimed at this day, which is why this day stresses me out. Because this day didn't exist for the first many, many years of my teaching. I used to end my school year the same way a lot of teachers do, which is you sitting there watching movies. And there's a lot of reasons why teachers end with you guys sitting there watching movies. One is teachers have an insane amount of paperwork that we have to do. I know you guys complain about homework. We get homework also that's handed down from above. Records we have to do, things we have to fill in, grades we have to type up, and all this stuff that takes up tons and tons of time. Like you, we don't want to do that homework any more than you have to. But if you don't do your homework, you get an F. If we don't do our homework, we don't come back next year. So it's a little more stressful. So in order to get that homework done, a lot of teachers show movies this last week because it allows them to get that work done here at school. And that's what I did for a long time. And it does another thing too. Y'all are kind of chaotic this last week. And trying to control you is exhausting. And so being able to put a big flickering screen in front of you and watching you drool makes it a lot easier on people. So I did that for the first many, many years. And then something changed. It was about my 5th or 6th year of teaching. And I was sitting at my desk after school one day when there was a knock on my door. And I said, come in. And they came in, and it was a past student of mine, which I thought was weird. And I was like, hey. And she was like, can I come in? I'm like, sure. And when I say past, I mean, she was in high school. I had not seen her in a couple of years. And she was like, hey, I saw your car out there. Because on my wall of pictures of me, I had my car that was up there. It was a purple car I used to drive forever and ever, ever. Now I drive my silver Jeep. She said, I saw your car out there, and I just wanted to stop by and say hi. And I was like, okay. And she just sort of came in and sat down, and we started talking. That's weird. Because I didn't do that when I was in school. I didn't have a teacher that I would go and talk to. I didn't have a teacher that I would go and talk to after school. I didn't have a teacher I'd go and talk to in the hallways, let alone be in high school and choose to go back and talk to. So when she sat down to talk to me, it was weird. I just kept going, are you all right? She was like, yeah, I just wanted to talk. And we did. We just chatted about life and how things are going and how high school was. And it was great. It was like an hour and a half of me just sitting there catching up with this kid. And I thought it was weird. And she left. And the next day, I was in class. And I told my students, I was like, the weirdest thing happened. And they're like, what? I go, a high school kid came back to talk to me. I go, why? I went, I don't know. She just wanted to talk. And they're like, people do that? I go, I don't know. But it did. And so it was one of those experiences. And they go, can I do that? And I go, why? And they go, I don't know. And I'm like, I guess. And so it was that one kid years ago who started the idea of coming back and talking to me. And I mentioned to my other classes, and then I had 8th graders after I mentioned that who would come back and just sit and talk. And then I had more high schoolers who would just come back and sit and talk. And I realized, as these kids came back and talked, I became a stronger teacher and a better teacher from talking to these past kids. Because my questions to them were about, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What do you see other teachers doing right? What do you see other teachers doing wrong? And kids were very honest with me. And they would tell me what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. And they would tell me what they liked from other teachers and what they didn't like from other teachers. And when they were being honest, it helped me grow as a person. And it was from these kids coming back that I realized your life is going to change coming up really soon. That I went through a lot of my early teaching years thinking of 7th grade as you guys are just these young kids running around through life because you're 12, 13, 14 years old, and all the horrible things that are going to happen in the world are far, far away from you. But they're not. And it was these kids coming back and talking to me that opened my eyes to it. And I've realized that for a lot of them, it was the summer between 7th and 8th grade is where things began to change. And it was, I'm not good at emotions because I don't tap into them often. And what you'll see today is the emotions I tap into are these past kids that came back to talk to me. And the lessons I learned from them were painful. And it is hard to have people you care about be in pain. Stop it. I'll be fine in a moment. And part of what happened throughout the year with past students and with you guys is, I'll be fine, don't worry about it. This is not real emotions, they're fake. Is you start to care about people. And when you care about people, you don't want to see them get hurt. And these were my past students who would come back, and they would tell me about what happened to them after 7th grade, and the fact that there were tough choices that were presented to them, and the fact that I assumed things like drugs and alcohol, drinking, were things that didn't happen to my past students until high school. But that's not the way it is. A lot of kids in 7th grade are already familiar with it. And I know they're already familiar with it. It's either the fact that they themselves have had the opportunity and the experience, or at the very least, they have known someone who is doing it. And I will tell you right now, from past experience talking to my kids, if at this moment in your life you don't know someone who, and I don't mean rumors of, I mean you know someone that you know is drinking or doing drugs, you will by the end of next year. By the end of 8th grade, you will know somebody. Because that's how quickly it hits. It is coming this summer. It is this summer between 7th and 8th grade where it's going to start hitting many of you. Not all of you, but many of you. By the time you get to high school, by the time you start your freshman year, at the very least, by the end of your freshman year, it'll be a friend of yours. It'll be someone you know. It'll not just be this kid I've talked to. It'll be someone that you have known for years, has gone down that path. And you have choices that are going to be happening in front of you. And so what I realized talking to these past kids that came in to see me was, this is my last time to have an impact on you. This is my last time to influence you. And so I don't want to waste my last time to have an influence on you, having you sit and watch a movie. Because that's not going to have an impact. That's not going to help you. So, what I did was change what I do the last week. And so, these past 2 weeks, I'm up till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, getting all of my homework and paperwork done. And I still don't skip out on going to band concerts, and choir concerts, and orchestra concerts, and all the things we have here, because I care. And when you care, you want to be there. And I do all of that because it opens up this last week to open up who I am. And I want to earn your trust. Because if I don't earn your trust, me talking this week does nothing. Because for a moment, imagine this is a different teacher talking to you and having this conversation. Emotions, they're gone. Having this conversation with you. Does it have an impact on you? I've spent this year trying to earn your trust with everything I do in the class, trying to earn your trust as an adult, as an educator, as someone you respect. Because I want you to take away from this week lessons and knowledge. And I want to have an impact on you. Because I can't live with myself if you come back as a high schooler and have gone down a dark path and made poor choices, and I didn't do they'll go away soon. If I didn't do something to try and stop you and redirect you, then I have failed you, and I don't want to fail you. So that has been my guidance up till now, is to earn that trust from you. To be that teacher who has words that are worth listening to. It's why I told you the stories about my poor choices. Because I bared my heart to you. I opened up my most painful bits to you. So that you understand, I'm not hiding things. I'm not holding things back. I'm trying to earn the trust the best way I can. If I did not earn it this year with the stories I chose and how I ran my class, then this past week was my last attempt to try and do that. Because I can see the future, which is a weird place to be in. And the reason I say I can see the future is I've been teaching a long time. 18 years. And with teaching a long time comes wisdom. Because I've had so many kids come back and talk to me. I've had so many high school kids come back. And I've had kids drop out when they get to high school. I've had kids come close to dropping out in high school. I've had kids who I thought were going to be incredible. What's up, kiddo?
Mrs. Randall's wondering if you had a one-hole punch thing.
I do. It's in that top drawer fully. Nope. Over one. Pull it out. Should be silver. Towards the back. It's all good. This helps all the emotions go away. Emotions are overrated. If it's not there, I took it. I know it's not there. Someone has taken it and not returned it. It is home.
Okay.
I apologize.
Thank you.
Abby. Don't chew it. Just leave it there. I know no matter how delicious it might be. Jacob?
Two questions.
Make it quick.
Since someone just interrupted, I'm going to do 2 videos today.
Nope. All right, just keep going.
But if no one interrupts this on your next classes.
Nope, we'll just find out. I record multiple classes today.
Good.
Being able to see the future. The way it works today, having taught for as long as I do, I have kids who make poor choices and they come back. I've had kids who got pregnant their freshman year. I've had kids who drop out their sophomore, junior year. I've had kids who were the horrible students in my class and failed everything and have gone on to get academic scholarships when they get to high school. Because you're 12 and 13 years old. There's so much life in front of you. The reason I can see the future is for many of you, I see 2 paths in front of you. And I see a path of good choice, and I see a path of bad choice. Because every single one of you, I can go back and pick out a kid I've had before that you remind me of. I can pick out more than one kid you remind me of. And I can see that that kid made good choices and bad choices. And I don't know what choice you're going to make. Because you're going to be presented with those bad choices. It's going to happen. You're not going to make it throughout all of high school with at some point having the temptation to go down the path that you know is wrong. And I mentioned me getting arrested. I was on a bad path, but it helped me make the right one eventually. I wanted you to learn from my poor choices. I wanted you to understand that I've been there, so you don't have to go down that same path. But some of you will anyway. When you do choose to go down that same path, understand that I will still support you, and I will still be here if you need to come back and talk, because sometimes that's what people need. Understand, I've been in that dark place. I've been down that path, and I've recovered. I can help you do the same thing. In my family, and I've talked about how much I love my parents, my family does come from pain and addiction and divorce. Multiple divorces. Didn't stop me from loving my family, but I've been through that level of pain. I've been through split family pain. I've been through the pain of having people I love being addicted to things. And it's gone even deeper than that, and it's things we don't need to get into today, but I've been there. I've yet to have a kid come back who has gone through some dark path that I've not tasted in some way. And I came out okay. I tell you that because understand, whatever dark path is in front of you, you can come out of it okay. Now here's a scary thought. In my family, I'm the most normal person. I am held up on a pedestal in my family of what everyone else in my family should try to achieve. I'm not normal. I should not be anyone's ideal of what you should be when you think of normality. But in my family, they are so skewed and screwed up. Everyone in my family was like, why can't you be like him? And I'm like, no one should be like me. But that's where I come from. You can come from that and be okay. Okay. Telling you that I've come from pain, divorce, and all of that, and I've come out as happy as I am. It's a choice. Some of the best advice I got from my mom was when I was a kid. and I was getting bullied, and I got bullied a lot as a kid. I had horrible acne, and I was a book nerd, and all those things you can imagine. And I had a kid that was really, Chad Morin, I still remember his name, who was bullying me and making fun of me because we were in PE. It was calling me pizza face in front of all these girls, trying to get them to laugh at me, and he was quite successful. And I remember coming home that day and being in tears and being upset. And I was in junior high at the time, and my mom, she saw me, and she goes, well, what's wrong? And I told her, I was like, Chad, and the fact that he was calling me names and was calling me pizza face, and the girls were laughing. And she goes, is Chad a friend of yours? I go, no, I hate Chad. He's the horrible person. I hope he burns. And she goes, were the girls friends of yours? I'm like, no, I don't know them. They were just girls. And she goes, then why do you care? I went, what? She goes, if they're not a friend of yours, and you don't respect them, why do you care? I go, because they're popular. She goes, are they popular because you want them to be popular? I go, no, I don't even like them. And she goes, honey, why do you care? And I was too young, because I was in junior high at the time, but it was a message that stuck with me for years. Why do you care? You can't feel bad unless you give someone permission to make you feel bad. When someone makes fun of you, and they will always make fun of you, I still get made fun of to this day. The trick is, why do you let that have an impact on you? You choose who is important to you. You choose who impacts your life. If it's someone that you don't respect, if it's someone that you don't like, and they make fun of you, who cares? If it's a friend of yours, then care and figure it out. If it's someone you respect, then care. But if it's a random person, don't give them power over you. It's easier said than done. And it wasn't until I was in high school, when I told you that I found my place in high school and I became happy in high school, that sunk in one day. And it was sitting on the bus, and I was sitting behind two girls on the bus, and I was listening to them talk, because I listen a lot. And I was listening to them, and they were just being awful people, and they were making fun of this other person, and I was listening to them, and I was listening to them because I wanted to find a way to get into the conversation, because I wanted to talk to them, because I thought if I could talk to them, then I'd be popular. And I realized listening to them, I didn't like them, that these were horrible people. And here I was trying to change my life to fit in with people I didn't like. And that message from my mom from years before, it finally hit me. That I was prioritizing the wrong people. And that I was making the wrong people important in my life. And so I changed it. And I simply decided that I was going to pick the people that influenced me. And I decided on that day to be happy. And oddly enough, it's as simple as that. To simply decide, I'm going to be happy. You can choose how you react to all the bad things that happen to you. And I choose to react to them with happiness and forgiveness, because it's a happier place to be. Because people believe what you tell them. People believe what you show them. If you tell people that you are happy and friendly and outgoing and popular and a good person, and you tell them that, they eventually believe you. It might take you repeating it enough times, but it happens. If I tell you enough times that I'm the most awesome teacher you will ever meet, and I say it enough times, eventually it sinks in. You can do the same thing. You can be the person you want to be. If you tell kids that you're mean and a thug and a bully, then you're going to be a mean thug bully. If you tell people that you are happy and friendly, and you're happy and friendly enough, you'll be happy and friendly. Don't get me wrong. Being happy and outgoing and friendly, you get attacked. Because people don't like it. Especially angry people don't like it. They'll come after you. But you have to be strong. When I was in high school and I chose to be happy, I got picked on for being happy. And it was the perfect target for bullies. Speaking of which, let's jump to that one real quick. People don't attack and people don't bully out of happiness. It only comes from a place of sorrow and pain. in all my years of teaching and having kids come back and talk to me, that's one of the biggest things I've learned. Because what's tough for me is that every kid talks to me. And I have both the bullies talk to me and the kids who get bullied talk to me. I have both sides come talk to me. And I get to see both sides of all of these. Every single time a kid gets bullied and I talk to the bully, it's because the bully's not happy. There's something going on in that bully's life. Because you don't attack other people. You don't belittle other people. You don't be mean to other people when you're in a happy place. You do it when you're in an unhappy place. And here's the issue. You guys are 12, 13 years old. You're not ready to handle that level of unhappiness. And there's kids who are really unhappy. A lot of you guys come from happy homes, where you have two parents who do the things they're supposed to do. Yes, dear?
Hey, so sorry to interrupt, but do you have lots of plastic bags that we could use?
Yeah. Behind you, on the bottom shelf to the left, should be a whole thing of plastic bags. Actually, you just need like little Ziploc bags.
No, like grocery bags.
Oh, those? I don't have. So I have like Ziploc bags. Sorry.
She does? Okay. Thank you very much.
One of the drawbacks of being known for being helpful to people is that they come to you when they want to be helped for things.
Thank you.
One of the things I've learned is the fact that there's a lot more unhappiness at our school than we thought. There's a lot of kids who come from homes where the parents are not doing the things they're supposed to do. Now, a lot of you come from happy homes where you have two parents there, and your parents are married, or you have one parent, and even that one parent does what a parent's supposed to do. What a parent is supposed to do is parent you. They're supposed to yell at you when you do something wrong. They're supposed to support you when you do something right. They're supposed to be there when you need them. They're supposed to give you hugs when you're sad. If your parent does that, that's good. Congratulations. You have a good parent. Now what you need to understand, there are people sitting next to you in classes, in this class, in your other classes, who don't have that, who don't have two parents, who have one parent. And that one parent doesn't do a good job parenting. That one parent yells at them. That they've never had a parent say, I love you to them. I've had kids in my classes who've never had a parent support them, who does nothing but tell them that they're a failure and they can do nothing right in life. I tell you that because you have to understand these kids sit next to you in class. Imagine how much unhappiness that creates in you. If that's all you hear is negativity and anger and someone telling you that you can't do the right thing, it's hard to be a happy person when that's what you have. When you wonder why people lash out and you wonder why people bully, they do it because that's what they see. They do it because that's what's in their house. One of the best quotes I ever heard that's helped guide me with teaching is that top one up there, which is what I tap into before I lash out and yell at any kid. That a child deserves our love most, or a child needs our love most, when they deserve it the least. When you see someone lash out and attack you, and they're mean to you, that's when they need you to be the kindest to them. When they make you feel the worst, and they have done a horrible thing to you, that's when they need your friendliness. They're not doing it because you're done something wrong. They're doing it because there's heartache and sorrow in them, and they are not strong enough to hold it, and they need your help to lift them up. It is not easy to do. But to make the world a better place is what's needed. So that's part of what I want to ask of you guys and to send you forward with, is the idea of changing the world one little bit at a time. The idea of that kid that stopped to talk to me in the hallway and doing that one nice thing. When you see someone who bullies someone else, who is angry and lashes out, they're doing that because they need love and friendship. Now the thing is, you can't just walk over and give them a hug. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. They're probably going to end up punching you. But it means they need you to accept them. They need you to shrug it off. And most of all, they need you to forgive them. And it's going to be the time you want to do it the least. But it's what needs to be done. As you move forward into the summer and into next year, and you have choices presented to you, find strength to make that right choice. And if you don't have the strength to make that right choice, and you realize you have made the wrong choice, realize that I'll be here. Even years from now, I don't forget my students. It's just part of how I'm wired. I don't forget you. And if it's 5 years from now, and we've never had contact, and you open my door to come back and talk, my door's open, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you. If we've not talked in years, and you realize that you've gone down that dark path, and you just need one person to smile and listen, I will smile and listen to you. And I'm more than happy to do that. Sorry, I'm limited with how much time I have left as I keep watching the clock. And I have so many more things I want to say. I'm trying to figure out which ones I can try to get in there. And it turns out the answer is none of them. Tomorrow, we're going to try and go in a much happier direction. I appreciate you guys listening today. It hopefully helps. See you.